North Korea is one of the most mysterious and closed countries in the world. Often, the media publishes fabrications about North Koreans, so little is known about the real lives of these people. In this video, I have gathered the most shocking, yet authentic facts about North Korea that will help you get acquainted with this unique country. Enjoy watching. In a strict country like North Korea, of course, the harshest punishments for criminals are envisaged. Unfortunately, information about what happens in prisons has to be gathered bit by bit, but the main thing is that it comes from reliable sources. North Korean camps for war prisoners are divided into two main types: large camps for political criminals, Kwanliso, and re-education camps, Khwaso. One can become a political prisoner for any illegal actions against the authority. For example, propagandistic slogans or even deliberately damaging portraits of leaders. The punishment for this is very harsh. Sometimes the criminal's entire family ends up in the camp, and sometimes people are simply executed. Camps for political criminals are located in the mountains, far from populated areas. They are fenced with barbed wire and strictly guarded. Escaping from there is practically impossible. While serving their sentences in such camps, prisoners literally become slaves. They are forced to engage in various types of dangerous and hard labor. Each Kwanliso holds between 5,000 to 50,000 prisoners. Re-education camps resemble ordinary prisons. Criminal offenders end up there. Among the prisoners in these camps are also those who resorted to theft due to a desperate life in poverty. People in Khwaso, like political criminals, are doomed to hard labor. Failure to meet the daily quota results in torture. Additionally, inmates of re-education camps are forced to memorize speeches by Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il and undergo rituals of self-criticism and repentance. In both types of camps, prisoners are deprived of proper nutrition, live in unsanitary conditions, and are regularly subjected to abuse and torture. On the border with South Korea, there is an unusual settlement called Ryugyong. According to official data provided by the authorities of North Korea, the village is home to 200 families, but Western media considers it a propaganda village. Here's why. Ryugyong was built in the 1950s. It looks quite nice and cozy. A lot of colorful, neat houses, a park, shops, kindergartens, schools, and hospitals. Everything needed for a comfortable life. Additionally, this village has had electricity since its foundation, a luxury not all cities in either North or South Korea could boast of at the time. Loudspeakers mounted on the buildings in Ryugyong broadcast speeches praising the life of North Koreans. This was designed to attract residents of neighboring hostile Korea to relocate. But South Koreans quickly realized that Ryugyong was nothing more than a facade. People noticed that the lights in all the houses turned on simultaneously, as if by command. Some, using binoculars, could see that inside such houses there was nothing, meaning they were just empty concrete boxes. This is why the deception was quickly exposed. But despite this, the authorities of North Korea continue to deny this fact. North Korea amazes with its uniqueness. Even the time zone and calendar in this country differ from the generally accepted ones. On August 15, 2015, to mark the 70th anniversary of liberation from Japan, the authorities decided to create their own time zone. It was named Pyongyang time. After the introduction of Pyongyang time, all North Koreans had to set their clocks back 30 minutes. Previously, the time zone in North Korea, just like in Japan and neighboring South Korea, differed by 9 hours from Coordinated Universal Time. In addition to the unusual time, since 1997, two eras have been used in this country. The first is called the Juche calendar, and the second corresponds to the commonly accepted Anno Domini. The Juche calendar counts from 1912, the birth year of Kim Il-sung. When writing dates, both eras are used. First, the year since the birth of Kim Il-sung is written, and second, in brackets, the year Anno Domini is indicated. This notation helps to identify errors in dates. The difference between these two eras should always be 1911 years. In North Korea, it's almost impossible to find men with long hair. This is because Kim Jong-un, at the beginning of his rule, regulated what hairstyles his citizens should wear. To look neat and tidy, according to Juche, North Koreans must pay attention to the appearance of their hair. Therefore, various modern hairstyles are unacceptable in this country. However, it's challenging to figure out what hairstyles are allowed and which could violate the law. Therefore, North Korean TV often broadcasts shows where hairstylists demonstrate the correct hairstyles. Men in this country wear short haircuts. It is customary to visit a barber at least once every 2 weeks to maintain neatness. Long hair in men is not accepted because it's believed that the longer the hair, the lower the intelligence. It sounds strange, but North Koreans believe in this. Barbershops in North Korea offer men a choice of 14 ideologically approved hairstyles, each of which can only be chosen according to one's occupation. Women are offered 15 hairstyles. The choice can be made according to age and marital status. Unmarried girls usually wear longer hair, but not below the shoulder blades. Middle-aged women typically choose the wave haircut, and older women short and voluminous. Dyeing hair is prohibited for both men and women, but covering gray hair is allowed. According to the Juche ideology, Korea should be a self-sufficient country, and therefore imported products, including clothing, are prohibited. Of course, Koreans produce practical clothing like jeans, and wearing them is allowed, but only if they are not blue. Jeans of this shade symbolize global imperialism, which contradicts Juche. Wearing such clothes can, in some cases, lead to being sent to a labor camp, but more often just publicly humiliated. Therefore, it's almost impossible to encounter North Koreans in blue jeans. However, tourists are not prohibited from wearing such items. In North Korea, there is a concept known as yangbok, which can be literally translated as Western clothing, although here it's not about fashion trends, but strict official attire. This style is common among high-ranking officials, which makes perfect sense. A bright example is Kim Jong-un himself and his wife Ri Sol-ju. The rest of the people dress quite ordinarily, except for ceremonial events and holidays. During these, girls typically wear hanbok, traditional women's clothing. Tourists visiting North Korea for the first time are surprised by the large number of attractive female traffic controllers in beautiful uniforms. The road police only accept beauties. All of them are tall, with pleasant facial features and slim figures. According to the authorities, they adorn the capital. Traffic controllers appeared on the streets of Pyongyang in the 1980s. Now, it's impossible to imagine the city without them. The job of these girls is not easy. They have to stand and manage traffic for long hours, in snow and rain. Nevertheless, this job is sought after and respected, so thousands of girls aspire to become traffic controllers. The competition for a position in the road police beats all records, and is only surpassed by the competition for admission to Kim Il-sung University. The main criteria for selection are beauty and youth. At 26, traffic controllers are mandatorily retired. Until that age, a girl can also be sent into retirement if she gets married. According to the government, nothing should distract traffic controllers from their work, not even family. Their male colleagues do not face such restrictions. North Korea is known as one of the most totalitarian states, characterized by the cult of personality of the leader. The cult of Northern Kim, or Kim Il-sung, the founder of modern North Korea, and his son, Kim Jong-il, is incomprehensible to residents of other countries. For North Korean citizens, worship of the leaders is expressed at a deep emotional level, as the image of the ruler is associated with wisdom, nobility, and the ideal to which everyone else should aspire. Kim Il-sung, ruling the state from 1948 to 1994, created his own ideology, Juche. Juche implies North Korea's independence from other countries, society's collectivism, and of course, unquestioning obedience to authority. According to this ideology, the most important element of the country is the leader in power. It is he who aids in the prosperity and independence of the state. For this reason, Kim Il-sung was called the son of the nation, the all-conquering commander, and a genius of ideas. I think from these epithets, the importance of the leader's personality for North Koreans becomes clear. After the death of Kim Il-sung in 1994, the people continued to exalt and deify his name. However, this was supplemented by the policy of glorifying his son and successor, Kim Jong-il. Interestingly, Kim Jong-il's biography states that during his birth, the sky shone with a double rainbow and a bright star. The birthday of the younger Kim, like the elder, became a national holiday in North Korea, and one of the most popular songs in the country became "No Motherland Without You," which tells of the talents and uniqueness of the new leader. Kim Jong-il died in 2011, and his third son, Kim Jong-un, became the next leader of North Korea. He continues the ideology of his predecessors, but with some changes. For example, after coming to power, the state's attitude towards private business became more lenient. Some of Kim Jong-un's reforms have contributed to the improvement of the standard of living of the state's population. Many of you might think that personal hygiene products in North Korea surely cannot fall under bans. But unfortunately, this is not the case. Modern women are accustomed to using sanitary pads, and as it turns out, these have long been banned in the DPRK. There are several reasons for this. Firstly, the import of foreign goods is almost entirely restricted. Furthermore, the ban on pads was long justified by ecological concerns. And of course, due to cultural and religious factors, the hygiene norms of Korean women differ from those familiar to everyone. To this day, most women, instead of sanitary pads, continue to use reusable cloth ones. However, this is extremely inconvenient, as they require regular washing. Very recently, and only in one of the stores in Pyongyang, disposable personal hygiene products made of cotton finally began to appear. But they run out so quickly that most women continue to use traditional hygiene methods. In Pyongyang stands the tallest building in the country, the Ryugyong Hotel. However, despite its impressive appearance, this building has not been put into operation. Construction of the hotel began in 1987, but was halted 5 years later due to an economic crisis. At that time, the building was fully constructed, and only the installation of windows and completion of interior work remained. In 2008, the authorities decided to continue the hotel project. Its opening was planned for 2012, for the centenary of Kim Il-sung's birth. However, the operation was postponed indefinitely. In 2018, construction work resumed on the hotel's territory. Underground paths were laid to the hotel, and its facade was adorned with a large LED display. To date, the building has not been put into operation, so locals and tourists can only admire the majestic 330-meter triangular-shaped hotel. Who knows, perhaps in the near future people will be able to enjoy the interior of this unusual hotel. The education system in the DPRK began to develop only after 1948. Before that time, most of the country's inhabitants were completely illiterate. By 1967, 9 years of education became mandatory, and by 1975, 11 years. Today, compulsory education includes 1 preparatory year, 4 years of primary school, and 6 years of secondary school. Higher education is obtained by teenagers from wealthy families, while most graduates immediately start looking for work. The school curriculum includes the same core subjects that are common worldwide: native language and literature, mathematics, foreign language, history, and geography. Additionally, students study subjects related to politics, such as the life of the great Kim Il-sung and communist morality. Some subjects in the school program are slightly distorted. For example, in history lessons, students are told that the Korean War was started by South Korea, not the North. In geography lessons, teachers acquaint children with other countries, not forgetting to mention that people live nowhere better than in their country. North Korea now also has developed social extracurricular education. It is aimed at teaching the norms and rules of life in society and the family. One of the most impressive and grandiose events in the world is undoubtedly the North Korean Arirang Festival. It's no wonder that this show was entered into the Guinness Book of Records in 2007. The Arirang Festival is an annual mass musical gymnastics show dedicated to the most important holidays in the country. The festival's name comes from a song of the same name about a couple in love who were not destined to be together. Partly, this song, like the festival, symbolizes the division of Korea into North and South. The history of this event began in the 1960s after the reconstruction of the Kim Il-sung Stadium. This festival resembled the holidays of some republics within the USSR, but was distinguished by its incredible scale. Typically, Arirang follows a consistent script. On the stadium field, more than 100,000 performers enact various scenes that glorify the Juche ideology. At the same time, spectators in the stands do not remain aloof and actively participate in the event. These spectators are called the living screen. Each of these people holds colorful flipbooks and turns the pages on command, displaying various pictures and inscriptions. Many tourists travel to North Korea specifically to attend this grand festival. Many people mistakenly believe that the main religion in North Korea is Buddhism. But in reality, it is the cult of personality, which has been transformed into the official ideology of Juche. Its creator is Kim Il-sung. The worship of the leaders, Kim Il-sung and his successor Kim Jong-il, has reached an incredible scale. Portraits of the two deified leaders hang in almost every home and every subway car. Monuments to them are erected throughout the state. North Koreans are accustomed to bowing low to the portraits and monuments of the leaders and laying flowers. Even in the kindergartens of this country, portraits of the leaders at various ages, from infancy to maturity, are displayed. According to the history of North Korea, Kim Il-sung was born into a family of hereditary Korean rulers. He's recognized as the only one who defeated the Japanese and restored the nation after the Korean War. He was bestowed numerous titles, one of which sounds like Son of the Nation. North Korean children were raised to be grateful to the great leader for their lives. In North Korea, there are many events, holidays, and celebrations dedicated to the cult of the leaders. Any opposition to the cult is punishable by death. Interestingly, during the 100-day mourning period for the death of Kim Jong-il, people who did not sufficiently demonstrate their grief and loss of the leader were sentenced to execution. North Korea differs from other countries in the world, including in the field of telecommunications. The most astonishing fact is that citizens of this country do not have access to the World Wide Web. Instead, North Koreans use a local computer network called Kwangmyong, created in the year 2000. Kwangmyong includes more than 5,000 websites. Typically, they belong to state institutions, museums, libraries, educational institutions, and some major industrial and commercial organizations. Scientific and cultural sites are filled with information from the global internet, but with modifications and certain censorship. Moreover, the North Korean internet has an email service and a search engine. In 2013, a local social network was launched, and in 2016, the Man-Band streaming video service. Until recently, access to Kwangmyong was limited and only provided in universities, libraries, and other state institutions. Now, Kwangmyong can be accessed from tablets, smartphones, and personal computers. Telephony in North Korea is not widespread among ordinary citizens. Despite more than 1 million landlines in the country, 90% of phones are installed in the offices of high-ranking officials and state institutions. To use telephony for personal needs, one must submit an application with their salary indicated. Most of these applications are rejected. Television in North Korea is a bit better off. TVs are not considered a luxury, but they only broadcast local programs, which often have a propagandistic character. In Pyongyang, there are 4 television channels, while in other cities, there's only 1. Of course, broadcasting popular Western channels and shows in North Korea is out of the question. In North Korea, life is arranged differently, and dating is no exception. The state's position on this matter is very conservative and unitary. Any displays of love in public places and on the street are considered unacceptable. In this country, a significant other is associated with a comrade in the common struggle for the prosperity of the nation, so relationships must correspond to this. To this day, North Korean schools lack sex education. However, a couple of decades ago, the situation was much worse. For instance, many young Korean women feared even the safest closeness with boys, believing that pregnancy could occur from holding hands for too long. Today, such absurdity no longer exists, but building relationships is still challenging. Lovers face a large number of societal prohibitions, but the main obstacle for them is mandatory military service. The term of service, depending on the military branch, varies from 5 to 12 years. It's not easy to maintain relationships under these circumstances. Nevertheless, North Koreans form families, meaning they somehow meet each other. In this country, there are no dating websites, as there's also no internet like we are used to. Nightlife is absent, but some daredevils open underground clubs, where sometimes acquaintances are made. However, more often, Koreans find their significant others through their relatives, who pick a suitable candidate for them. In North Korea, there is a punishment for a criminal that extends to all his family members up to the third generation. It's hard to believe, but it's true. One of the most serious illegal acts in the country is political crimes. It is for these that the punishment of 3 generations is provided. According to the law, a person who has committed a political crime, including insults and protests, as well as fleeing the country, must be punished with hard labor or execution. However, other immediate relatives up to the third generation also fall under the punishment. In North Korean society, the songbun system operates, implying the division of citizens into 3 layers: core, wavering, and hostile. So, if a person is sentenced to 3 generations of punishment, all his children and grandchildren are immediately classified as hostile population. These people are prohibited from joining the army, enrolling in colleges and universities, and visiting the economic centers of the country, Pyongyang and Kaesong. Moreover, hostile people have almost no chance of getting a job. Understandably, no one wants such a life, so people try not to commit any acts that can be construed as a political crime. This is precisely why there is almost no opposition in North Korea, which is exactly what Kim Il-sung tried to achieve. And that's all from me. If you liked this video, don't forget to rate it, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell. Your activity is the best reward for me. Thank you for your attention. See you soon. Goodbye.